All right. Okay. I think we are all set up. Yes, all right. So, I know it's obviously a little earlier in the afternoon, but I got home a little earlier than I usually do, so I figured I'd turn the stream on for at least a little bit. Oh, nice. The bitrate picked up. Cool. I did see that key lime pie. I did not know Emmanuel Quickly was a good enough player to warrant that much money, but there's a lot that I'm not getting about the modern NBA in terms of like what people are getting paid and shit. Like, it seems like if you're like just a decent player, you can get 50 million a year. But again, I don't watch the Raptors, so for all I know, he's like hyper elite.
Well, define hyper elite. I mean, the way that some guys are getting paid, I'm at the point where I'm starting to think that Tyler Hero's not overpaid.
Yeah, we're getting there, man.
And you know how much I hate him.
Hmm.
But yeah, it 100% looks like Paul George is going to get traded to Golden State at some point in the next couple of days. And with this tweet that Titan posted just a couple minutes ago, Denver Nuggets are showing interest in Klay Thompson as a potential replacement for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Philadelphia 76ers are also showing interest in Thompson.
Yeah,
So
I do not get it, man. I don't get it.
If multiple teams are expressing an interest in Klay, then the Warriors are essentially looking at blowing it up to try to put together one last gasp to ring chase. And you should definitely take them serious in their attempt to do so because, again, they came damn close to trading for LeBron this season.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person who shut it down was the Lakers owner, who was the only person who could have shut it down. But LeBron himself thought he was gone, and that's why he was making comments about saying that it wasn't going to be his problem any longer. Heading into the trade deadline, and a bunch of Lakers fans kept being like, "Oh, he's going to get a bunch of these bums traded. We're going to win a ring this year." It's like, you guys are fucking stupid. LeBron thought he was leaving. I'm like, you guys are just so insanely delusional because you're thinking that You're thinking like a Lakers fan.
What
You're
are
not
you
thinking as a
doing?
fan of a team that has
Be quiet.
LeBron on it.
Hmm.
That's the mistake you
Listen.
make.
You hear something I don't?
I feel it below us.
Well, I don't feel anything.
I mean, honestly, if a
you know this
guy
place better
like
than we do.
Isaiah
You're
Quickly
willing to leave.
is going to get, what
We'll
is it,
follow.
60 million a year
What
on
do
the
you mean,
extension?
we?
How much should a guy like Jokic or Doncic be getting? Like, should they be getting 200 million a year?
I ain't been scared a day in my life.
If a guy like Quickly's making how much?
I think the extension is like 60 million a year.
Man,
I could be wrong,
this is ridiculous.
but I thought it was like
That
5
guy was
years,
convinced there's some kind of ghost in here,
250.
but I'm not buying it. I say,
Hold on, let me look up the exact numbers here real quick.
Well, what's his name?
Quickly, it's okay. I'm sorry,
Emmanuel
I messed up
Quickly.
the numbers. Okay, it's 5 years, 175. So that's 35 million a year. Now maybe he's better than I think, and I just don't know who he is really. But to me, if he's getting that, then Jokic should be getting like 100 million a year.
The only thing I have to go off of
Getting
is his
cold
stats,
feet?
because just like you
course
said, I
not.
don't watch
Besides, it wouldn't be our first paranormal
him,
encounter,
his games.
like the game.
Now, he was on the Knicks
I think.
to start off his career, and he got traded this season to the Raptors.
Oh, in the RJ Barrett trade?
Yes.
What was that?
And when he
No, I
went
had
to
it
the
right.
Raptors,
Loud
because the
and clear.
Raptors are bad, his stats, efficiency-wise, fucking plummeted. But his actual
Sounds nothing like the
production
game
went
we
way
know.
up, and that's
Then
because
what is it?
somebody has to do the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Raptors were one of the worst
Vincent,
teams in the league.
what's the
This
deal with
this
you and
is Tony
Sephiroth?
Roten
How do you
syndrome.
know him?
So this is a
I've been
massive
this
overpay
unique.
because it's $5 million
I'm to blame
more
in
than
part
Tyler
of the
Hero.
evils he's unleashed.
And
I've had many
we saw how
opportunities
Tyler
to
Hero
purge him
did
from this
as
world.
like the only guy running the
Unfortunately,
offense against the NBA champions
pull the
16-3
Don't beat
Celtics.
yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I don't know if you
And
can.
Tyler
Phil.
Hero did better
If you could,
against the Celtics
I think he'd stick with
than Emmanuel Quickly did in a very similar situation
You-
on the Raptors
somehow.
against the entire league for 38
quite the
games.
rosy outlook.
I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
look at his real quick.
I feel like these NBA... I feel like we're getting close to, like, Timofey Mozgov levels of lunacy with these contracts. But, I mean, maybe the next mega extensions are going to be like $100 million. Maybe Jokic will get $100 million on his next contract.
I wouldn't be surprised. It depends on what happens with the salary cap situation. But yeah, looking at his stats more, basically he is Tyler Hero. He's just making more money. His efficiency is way fucking lower. Yeah, he had one game in March against the Suns. Now they would lose by 7, but in this game he went 9 for 17 for 21 points and 18 assists, only 2 turnovers. I think that's why he got paid so much, is that one game.
That'd be pretty fucking bad if they paid him that much for one game.
Seriously. But yeah, like this, it's just Tony Roten syndrome. Somebody has to do the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody's got to score the points. Somebody's got to get the assists. Somebody's got to get the rebounds. When he was on the Knicks and he was a much smaller part of their offense, his efficiency was much higher, but it's not like he was balling out or anything. Like if he was still on the Knicks, he would have gotten half as much.
I guess the kicker would be it's Toronto. They have to pay more to keep their players because nobody wants to play in Canada. There is something to be said
Maybe.
for that.
And you're right, due to how the taxes work and everything, he'll ultimately be making way less than Tyler Hero, even though he's got $5 million more a season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ugh.
So anyway, I'm not saying anything positive about the situation because obviously it's probably going to be kind of a joke. But the first Bronny to LeBron alley-oop is going to be a moment. It's going to be something. Like, I admit that when that happens, it's going to be... It's going to be a very interesting moment when that happens. I will admit that.
Now, here's the question. It has to be Bronny giving to you because, like, there's no way he's got the hops to actually dunk. Right.
Yeah, I would not think so.
So what I think is going to be hilarious is that Bronny's going to motion to his dad to go up for the alley-oop,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's going to be super excited, and then we're going to have a Here Comes Austin Rivers moment where instead of passing the ball to his dad for a successful alley-oop, he just, like, hits him square in the ball. Oh man, it's going to be... They're going to be like, here comes the Jameses!
At least they got him in the second round. If he went in the first round, that would have been a crime against humanity. But it kind of worked out the way it should. He should have fallen to the bottom of the draft, and then somebody takes him because it's a late second round pick. Most of those guys don't make the NBA anyway.
You're going to love this one.
I'm doing good, Byron. Good to see you. Oh, okay, I remember this place. Alright. So, I'm going to send you one of those Instagram posts that has, like, you know, a bunch of different slides that you scroll through. So, most of them are pretty funny, but scroll to the last one on this one. I think that's the best one.
Alright, scroll to the last one.
Mm-hmm. That's my favorite. They're all pretty... Most of them are pretty good.
Wait. You're going to need my key card. It'll grant you access to the lower levels.
I mean, DeAndre Ayton's not a very good player, so it kind of makes sense that he would be an NBA journeyman.
Hey, Vincent, you got any idea whose voice that is? Like, seen any women wandering the manor? Maybe some gal got stuck in a coffin.
Unlikely. A female staffer once lived here, but she's long gone.
Then, who else could it be?
Do I have to keep repeating myself? As I said, we'll soon find out.
La 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 la, not listening.
This floor is where he conducted his combat trials.
I mean, honestly, the Blazers should probably
here.
want to tank one more year, so maybe that would actually be a good idea, Santi.
Huh. Now I know you're just...
Play him at point guard. Play
Well,
DeAndre Ayton
I
at
ain't
point guard for a
falling
year.
it. No, sir.
Oh, fuck. The heart medication. I thought the Thanos one was going to be the best, but you were right about the last
Keep
one. My
moving.
God.
So the number 55 overall pick is being discussed far more than the number 1 overall
The
pick.
simulator is up ahead.
What a bad
Can't
draft.
proceed further until we complete the trial. Best of luck.
So yeah, yesterday the conversation was basically when Rich Paul said that stuff about how like getting Bronny does not mean you're going to get LeBron. It was basically code for everybody just leave him alone and let the Lakers take him at 55. And it worked.
Yeah, because he was working on that shit for a long time, and that specifically, yes, that's exactly what it was. It was, if you draft Bronny, LeBron will be so furious with you that there's no fucking shot whatsoever that he's gonna play for you. In addition to that, the Lakers won't give you a goddamn thing at any point. Like if they shop anybody, they're not picking up the phone for you. And it was because of, dumb shit like Bill Simmons said, we should draft Bronny at 30 and then hold him hostage. So, yeah. It's like, why would we want the kid? LeBron made it exceptionally clear that if we take Bronny, then he won't do anything for us out of spite. And LeBron is fucking powerful.
This asshole again?
Mm-hmm.
Today is your
So-
lucky day. You'll be participating in a series of combat simulations. Few are permitted to take part in mine. Be grateful for this honor. Well, without further ado, let us begin.
JJ
I
Redick
look
taking
forward to
away
analyzing
Bronny's
the
heart
data
meds.
gleaned from your deaths.
Yeah.
Messy as they'll be.
So, yeah, hold on, I just got a text, so I can't focus on two
Okay.
trains of thought at once.
No problem.
So anyway, yeah, so making it very clear that, the Lakers won't do anything with you out of spite. LeBron's not coming to your team. And LeBron's powerful, so if he becomes vindictive and spiteful towards you, he could really make things bad for you and your franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason that you want to take the kid down at that point is because of who he is as a player. And as I often mention, Bronny is the only player I've ever seen in my entire life on a televised broadcast actually have to look at the ball as he dribbles.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because he's obviously the kind of player who should spend like 3 years in the G League or D League or something. But he's probably going to end up playing in the NBA year 1 because the whole point is that he gets to play with his dad. It's going to be such a fucking...
Bodes well for the next
He's going to be so overwhelmed. It's going to be brutal.
Calling fire.
It's a little version of me, Alan. I want you to have it. The Mavs want Grant. It would be nice to unload him. I like how the Mavs made the finals, but they're still making non-trivial moves trying to get better. I appreciate that.
You're dead.
And it's really like the move that they made to get rid of Tim Hardaway. Like they literally sent him to punish him because of how bad he played in the playoffs. They literally traded him to Detroit to punish him because, obviously the player that they got is an upgrade over Tim Hardaway Jr. But if they traded Tim Hardaway to any franchise in the league, they could have gotten an upgrade. They sent him to specifically to punish him, and I like that. Because obviously the loss isn't completely on his shoulders, but the message is clear. You know, Kyrie could have done better, but Luka was doing everything that he fucking could. And man, everybody else just let him down about as much as you could possibly let your team down. PJ Washington fell apart. Obviously, Tim Hardaway, like we're mentioning in the first place. But even Gafford and Lively, who'd been phenomenal in the series previous, laid an egg, which was extremely weird. The only guy that showed up was Dante Exum. It felt like Kid waited way too long to start giving him meaningful minutes. Because when you've got one guy coming off the bench who's actually producing and everybody else is just laying a fucking egg, like, bro, it's the finals, man. Anyway, I'll keep working on this rock story. I know you're gonna...
Oh, is it a Brawny story?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Like I said, I think you're gonna love it.
So it's my turn? It's your turn. Watch yourself.
My turn.
There. Nothing.
Burn. No way.
I'll show you what I can do. Gotcha.
I got your number.
No weaknesses, huh?
Might be it.
You're mine.
Ha! Bingo! Bring it! Yeah, there!
Any last words?
B, C, D, E, F, G.
Not looking good.
I've got you covered. Bingo! Bring it!
Get him.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, this one's pretty good. I'm gonna have to call an audible to change a couple of things around, but other than the manual editing, this is pretty good. So
Yeah, I have to
change.
do light editing on most Grok stories, so nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
Let's finish this.
Bingo! Bring it! There! Come on! Bring it!
Now.
I won't.
You're as good as dead.
I wonder if Bronny will be the first teammate LeBron ever had that he had to wipe, who got his ass wiped by LeBron.
Probably Shaq.
Thanks.
No surprises there.
A most disappointing conclusion. Well, will you give up or will you try again?
Hmm. I'm trying to think of how that Klay Thompson on Golden State thing would work out, because I feel like Klay shot, but maybe on that team you would only have to play like 20 minutes a game and would just shoot threes the whole game and it'd be okay. I don't know, man.
Yeah, Clay just doesn't have the legs to go for as long as Kerr was trying to. But the Warriors, they went on a run in the second half of the season that took them from like they weren't even going to make the play-in to all of a sudden they made the play-in, they passed the Rockets and everybody else. They got up there, and a huge part of that is because they started bringing Clay off the bench. If you bring Clay in off the bench, it's a good idea. If Denver wasn't paying him a ton, it'd actually be a great replacement for KCP. But that's the problem, is that you're still going to have to pay him a ton. So, like, that's awful. You know, Clay's contract is loyalty for the dynasty, and Golden State's trying to do right by him. But if they're trying to trade him, like, no team in the league can take that contract because it's not worth that money anymore. The only teams that should take that contract would be rebuilding teams that are just willing to take on the cap space, you know, because they know they're going to be bad. And then, you know, you might be like, hey, kid, come see Klay Thompson play. That's why you should show up to our games.
A borderline Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you know, it's not like he's gonna fucking accidentally ruin your tank, because him, along with the actual rest of the fucking Warriors dynasty, was the fucking 10th seed, with everybody healthy the whole fucking year.
What
Like,
now?
Jesus Christ.
We follow him.
So you missed the debate last night, right? Because you were at work, right?
That's correct.
But you've kind of
bro-
caught up on it now.
Yeah, I've seen lots of good memes, lots of good stuff. But just for context, like I said, the Clay was not, or rather that the Warriors were healthy the whole year, so it wasn't because of injuries that they ended up being the 10th seed. Clay played 77 games last year.
Usually,
77 fucking games.
no load management
And
at all, huh?
That was close.
He started all but 14,
Come on.
and those 14 games were the last 14 games of the season when the Warriors started doing better.
It's on now.
But for that first 63 games of the season that he was starting, he played like shit. And it was a huge reason why the Warriors were not doing all that well. Had career lows in every single category.
That's that. Chill. Shatter. Gotcha.
Bring it.
Chill.
Go on.
Such vessels cannot contain our fury.
I guess it could work, but man, there's got to be a better way to spend your money. Maybe a guy like Jokic just makes everybody around him better.
Oh. Alright, there you go.
I like the idea of the ball hitting LeBron in the nuts, even though LeBron should easily be able to catch a ball that hits him in the nuts.
It was the only good thing that Bronny ever did is rocket the pass like a fucking... He should have been playing football instead. Nice.
Such power now ours to command. You are no match for us this time.
Bronny will get grounded the first time he doesn't close out on a three-point shot. He won't get his hand up on a three-pointer, and then LeBron will start spanking him while saying hand down, man down.
Freeze. Bundle up. Sloppy. after you.
You're up. So it's
Mother.
Gotcha.
Everything's spinning.
Okay, let's go. There. Come on. Bring it.
This is another version. I
Kept you
like
waiting?
this one better. I didn't have to edit this one at all.
Fight through it.
Alright, 1 second.
Oh man.
Still here. Don't think you'll walk away from this. Bingo. This fight's not over.
Alright, let me take a look here. At first, when it said Kevin Harlan, I thought it said Kevin Hart, and I was thinking about Kevin Hart announcing the first LeBron Bronny game.
Oh man, that'd be amazing too.
Let's get you a hat or something.
Yeah. Good to go? We got that didn't happen.
No way!
Stay strong and carry on. You've got this. Let me handle this. Gotcha. There. I can't. Get down. Get him. Go for it. Keep it up. Gotcha.
Look at this shit.
Kept you
One
waiting?
fucking
None for
step.
you. Let me come on, team. I can
The
see
difficulty.
it. Keep up the
Get down that one fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty fucking bad. Poll just came out today, so this was pre-debate that had Trump leading New Jersey, which is insane.
Yeah, I saw that one too. It's like it's only June. There's still 5 months left, but if stuff like this continues, especially if we see, because like a lot of people are memeing about it. They can't fucking replace Biden. It's too late.
Yeah.
And you know, it's also like you were saying that there's a lot of states where their laws and everything are like, we can't remove Biden from the ballot. So
Unless he dies, they have a
right.
contingency for that, which now we're going into a really dark direction here.
Right, but you know, otherwise, if they try to replace him with like Gavin Newsom, it's like, well, fucking too late. It's not going to be Newsom on the ballot. It's going to be Biden. So between that whole thing and like if RFK actually continues to run, I consider it highly, highly, highly fucking unlikely. But if things continue the way that they are, and if this is just like people panicking and accepting, you know, like essentially just having to cope with the idea now that it seems all too likely in their heads that Trump's actually going to win, we might see some kind of like Reagan or Nixon tier fucking ass kicking.
Mm-hmm. And like also if they're planning on running somebody like Newsom in 2028, they don't want to sandbag him by attaching him to a doomed run now. Like that would maybe
and
derail his career.
Yeah, so like realistically, because she's already on the ticket, the only person that they could replace Biden with would be Kamala. But she's not going to win that shit because when she ran in the primary, she only got 1% of the vote. You know, Elizabeth Warren was more popular than Kamala Harris. There's no fucking way. Yeah, which one did you like better, the first one or the second one?
Probably the second one. Okay. Here, I just made one.
Because I'm like the first one's cheating because I had to fix so many things. You know, like I had to add the holding onto his
Need to heal
groin.
up. See ya.
Holding onto his groin and down.
This is far from over.
Oh my god. Oh man, this is hilarious because it's making me think. It's like, dude, Bronny might be the only person in NBA history who's got to take fucking nitroglycerin pills before he fucking. Oh my god. The other Laker players, instead of rushing to help, began to laugh hysterically.
For some reason, it has J.J. Redick being a teammate instead of the coach, but whatever, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. As the paramedics rushed Bronny away to the hospital, the only thing he could say was oogly goo.
I don't know exactly, Austin. I am going to go eventually do something for dinner, but I don't know what.
Whoa, hey, hang on. You guys have it all wrong.
The idea of J.J. Redick throwing away Bronny's heart meds. You don't deserve this.
To recover the black materia, you would bring us salvation.
What? I never agreed to that.
Do not feign ignorance, Seto.
Okay, so you know how Grok will generate a bunch of trending topics and occasionally misinterpret them when you pull up
Yes.
the homepage of Grok? I'm looking at mine right now. One of them is Obama disappointed at only serving 2 terms, dreams of a 4th.
That's pretty funny.
Another one, Democrats replaced Joe Biden with Joe Pesci. At least he can remember his own name. Man, they really need to teach Grok how to understand sarcasm.
There's no way that Joe Pesci would actually be a Democrat because, do you remember the famous Sinead O'Connor
Yeah.
on Saturday Night Live tearing up a picture of the Pope?
Yeah.
And Pesci was the host the following week, and he cracked some jokes
I remember
about
this, yeah.
how if he'd been there, he would have beat Sinead O'Connor senseless. So like,
Let's do it right.
Yeah, I think Joe Pesci generally just keeps to himself. That's the impression I've gotten when it comes to stuff like that.
Ain't
So
dead yet.
for him to come out and say something like that, it obviously did not sit well with him.
Gonna sting!
Yeah, Joe Pesci's extremely reserved. And they have like the shortest Oscar ever.
I think Hitchcock beat him, but otherwise, yeah.
Buzz off.
What's going on here? How do I damage this fucking guy?
I got your number.
Ha! Bingo! Bring it!
I added some more stuff being inspired by the direction that you took with you.
Still here. Get him.
About to make history with the first ever alley-oop. Oh, God. Man, if I went to a Lakers game and that happened, I'd be happy as hell. They'd be like, this is a moment that no one will ever forget.
Same here. Yeah, oh man. My favorite part was Shinji shocked, hair disintegrating. Oh no.
Go on.
Fry.
Gotta heal first. Back off. That's it.
That'll do.
Well, this helped a lot. I was really having a bad day.
Anything like you want to get into, or not right now?
Just the usual stuff of like slept really bad, wake up, just already in a bad mood. Anything that I wanted to do today and everything that I tried to do just went wrong. Then my mom got up and made everything worse. You know, my hours aligned perfectly with when, so that was just the entire time that she's downstairs. I just dodged that whole time period.
No more games.
So I'm like, man, the weekend fucking sucks now.
Well, at least you have a job that you actually like going to.
Yeah, things could be a lot worse.
Curse you, foul Seto.
I'm not Seto. I'm his son, Nanaki. There's a lot of things I don't know yet, but I want
Also,
to
this
learn.
is definitely a
Can you teach me
grokism.
about my
Like I
father?
don't know how the hell it
About
happened,
you?
but when Shinji realizes that he has molded himself to be completely bald, it says Shinji looking down at his bald head. How the hell is that possible?
So apparently, if Biden stepped down and Kamala took over at running as president, she could inherit his funds, which is like $217 million. If anybody else steps in, they have to give all the money back, and that new candidate has to start from scratch.
That he might persuade us.
That seems like their only option, but it also feels like something that they wouldn't do, because then Kamala would become the first female president, and that would really, really chap Hillary's ass, like, next level.
I cannot imagine her winning. I think she has an even worse chance than even, like, decrepit Joe Biden.
Right, and that's what I meant, is, you know, when she ran in the primary 4 years ago, she got 1% of the vote. Elizabeth Warren was more popular than her. So there's no reality where tough battleground states she's actually, especially because it's like, well, what the fuck has she even done as vice president? You know?
He was in charge of the border.
Oh god. So yeah, like. Trump may be struggling with his core of white working class voters right now because he's been too favorable on immigration, which tells you a lot. But yeah, if Kamala showed up, that'd just fucking seal the deal. There's no shot she'd take the Rust Belt from Trump.
One by one, our arrows found their mark. Yet Seto was unfazed by our assault. As a confidant, our secrets he would keep. As a
Well, there's nothing I can do about it, but that's not bad.
he would accept. Yet Seto would not forsake his duty
No
to
damage
keep us from the veil.
to this car at all.
Resolute, his will adamantine,
Wait a minute.
and with
That seems a little
every
fishy, though.
arrow that struck,
Because I saw it was a used 2022 Tesla with it's only 16 grand, and you know, no accidents or damage reports. So I'm like, hey, that's not bad.
futility of our plight,
But
and
oh,
sank
that's
back
why.
into the dark depths whence we came.
Because you know it's only a 2-year-old car, but it's got 123,000 miles on it already. I'm like, holy shit.
So desperately yearn.
I was looking into it, and
I know
apparently
this might
this
sound
was
hard
a
to
rental
believe,
car.
but I want to finish what my father started. I want to fulfill his promise to you.
Yeah, not buying a rental, bro.
So a lot of love stains in the back seat.
Even if you don't trust me, Gina Talk does.
That would
He
be
asked
like
me to
the
get back your
more
materia.
attractive things about
Like I
this
told
car,
him,
dude.
I'll
She's
do everything I can to make sure you can rest in
probably a
peace.
smell in there
All
that'll
I
never
ask
come
is that
away.
you wait in your cave until I return.
God.
And if we comply,
Man,
you will keep your word.
Nate Silver is going
It might take some
in
time,
right now.
but I'll do it.
Very well.
Good lord. Because he's been saying that Biden should step down for like the last year, and Democrats always like just yelled at him whenever he suggested it. So now he's taking like this massive victory lap.
See that it is not broken.
Last tweet. Nobody in the Democratic Party is panicking. Half of the Democratic Party is having a perfectly rational reaction to Biden having had the worst debate in presidential history when he was already behind in the race, but there is still maybe time to replace him. And the other half has its head up its ass.
Even if it turned him to stone, if it meant that he could spare others from their wrath. We just have to find that black materia. And we have to make sure that no one
He also
gets their hands
retweeted
on
this.
it.
If I
Not
see
the
one more
key or
person call
anyone
this a
else.
bad debate,
I
I'm going to
do wanna
lose my
keep my
mind.
promise.
Bad does
I'm gonna
not
find
cover
a way
what
to
we
release
saw.
them from
Nixon
their
sweating
suffering.
through his shirt was
There's
bad.
gotta be an
What we
answer out
witnessed
there
was a
somewhere.
90-minute
And I'm
medical
not gonna
event
stop
foisted on us
searching
by
until I
arrogant
find it.
lunatics who'd rather lose than admit they were wrong.
Spoken like a true watcher.
You heard all that?
Our hopes
Man,
and
Nate
our
Silver's been way
dreams
better
give
ever
us
since he left
strength.
538 and has gone
Remember
independent.
that.
Like now he
Hold
just says
tight
whatever
to
he wants.
yours, and see that you never let them go. In time, they shall lead you
Now that he's
to
off the
answers
chain,
you
it's actually been, I think, a lot better for him. Good for him. Why do alley cats supposedly have poor morals?
Where you can forget the troubles of the
Like, I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of, like, somebody saying alley cat to describe somebody who has bad morals. What is that? Is that like
Bad
some...
morals in what way?
1800 lingo. No, that was a line from Biden in the debate last night. He was talking to Trump. He's like, "You have the morals of an alley cat." Is that like some 1800s lingo that I've never heard of before?
Very, 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 very old, like 50s lingo for basically he's saying that he'd fuck anything. You know, because an alley cat is also called a tomcat, and that's, you know, the perennial bachelor who would just be dating a lot of women, with the implication, but never outright stated, that he was just pumping and dumping them, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, that he was tomcatting. So saying that he's got the morals of an alley cat, he's like, yeah, you'd fuck anything. But hardly anyone's going to understand what the hell that means, because like I said, that is lingo from like the 50s and 60s. That's just showing how old Biden is because he was 20 during the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, Austin. If they were to get rid of Biden and put up anyone who isn't Kamala, then they literally are just kicking Kamala aside, which would play very, very poorly to certain demographics.
Seriously?
Yeah. Plus, it would completely end her political career.
Mm-hmm.
Unless she gets appointed to something else, she'll basically be dead in the water.
I'm gonna need your employment history.
Which makes sense, because she only got this far because she was fucking people. So, you know, hey, end up as the first female vice president. How about that? But, no one's going to remember you fondly. You're an historical footnote at best. And this is pretty much it. Your life is over. You're just waiting to die from now on.
Accepting applications? Don't know if I want to work for them.
What's up with those guys? Oh yeah, I can vouch for him on that one, Mr. President. This guy will mash monsters in seconds flat.
Yeah, just like he did to us!
Shoot.
Let me just confer with my associates. Hey,
What's
we
up?
can get this schlub to do all the heavy lifting for us. Our monster troubles are over, boys. After thorough deliberation, our council has decided to approve your candidacy. Congratulations!
Congratulations!
You candidate!
Some might call you surly, but I can tell you're just shy. And I have full confidence
He did not
your
have sex with a
superiors
porn
will
star.
help get you out of that shell in no time. Welcome to the family.
I'm your superior, and you're my superior.
We've got some big expectations for you, rookie.
Okay, now that the formalities are out of the way, it's time for your first assignment. There's an old highway on the outskirts of town. Go on ahead and prep the battle while you're at it. We've got some, paperwork.
You ain't serious about this, are you?
Ain't I always serious? Never know. Could be a nice change of pace.
You gonna start wearing a mask, too?
Oh, what's up with those guys?
Hooray, a Pim and Alan adventure!
Like that one time that Pim ran out of the office really fast. He goes, I believe in destiny. You can hear him like trailing off in the distance, and Chud's just like, what the fuck?
And you can still hear the dude outside the apartment getting his ass beat.
Oh, yeah.
And Gaga.
I could really go for some cooked shrimp right now.
But President Pinhead died from a bad shrimp.
Don't forget when Jimble shat himself because of the sour lamb. He didn't learn his lesson. He wanted more lamb right away.
Debate. Yeah, that's a funny word when you think about it. Debate. So someone on X today edited some CNN footage from yesterday, so when they referenced Michelle Obama, they said Big Mike. The CNN, I can't remember which CNN reporter it was, but one of them was talking about Michelle Obama, and they edited it so he said Big Mike. And a lot of people fell for it. It's pretty fucking funny.
Oh man, that's great. Because of how big Oni Plays is, it's sort of like, you know, they're giving props to all the YouTube community whenever they do stuff in Smiling Friends with, you know, bringing people out, and it's reciprocated too. Here's Zach doing a guest voice on you know that one YouTube channel, How It's Actually Made?
Yes.
Where he does like a parody of those How It's Made documentaries, but the guy's like completely full of shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so it's kind of like the How To Basic, but not as demented?
Yes. So, Zach did a voice in that episode.
Mm-hmm. Who's the one that does the Reagan impression really well? Is that Zach? Or is that Mark?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Zach.
Well,
Zach is like a wizard with impressions, so he loves doing that stuff.
I don't know what that peanut and that fellow over there is saying, but I believe that you should try to win back the marketplace with a more competitive business model.
Oh yeah, what a really good idea. Not.
I like how even his hallucinations, like, give him shit. Like, why did you invite us here if you didn't... if you're not going to listen to our advice? Austin, hold on, let me see here. Joe, Harris, Mike, Gavin. Well, okay, if we live in this world where they can swap Biden out, which they can't, because he's literally already been married to the ballot in a couple states and can't be taken off, and they can't put anyone new on. If we remove that for a second, Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete could be the guy they turn to. Or Cory Booker, I guess. But I haven't heard anything about Cory Booker in like 5 years, so he might be dead for all I know. Mr. Frog should be... Well, Mr. Frog is kind of a Trump XP, right? Because he was in show business and then he got into politics.
Kind of, sort of. He's more like just a fun little thing on everybody in politics. Because like the Mr. Frog logo is obviously an Obama reference. So it's sort of just like, man, you know, what if we had this guy go in there that just like didn't give a shit about, like, when he literally ate a fucking baby during the campaign video. That was...
Who should be Trump's VP? I kind of like Burgum if he's Catholic.
What happened?
I like Doug Burgum. But I think anybody would be more or less fine of anybody that he could pick. I like him a lot, but I don't really want it to be Youngkin because I don't want to take him out of Virginia. He's doing a good job in Virginia. He's probably going to win re-election easily. I'd rather leave Youngkin in Virginia because Virginia is a state where Republicans basically just completely collapsed after 2004, and they're finally now making a comeback.
I'll tell you this: I've been thinking about it over the last couple of days, and I really didn't like the idea initially for Vivek, but I'm starting to think that it would actually be the best choice for him, and I'll say why. I think that Vivek is, like, just trying to use the movement to propel himself. Like, he doesn't actually care about anything that conservatism, especially Trump-based conservatism, tries to advocate for and talk about and all that other shit. Plus, he's Indian, and that's plenty of reason to not trust him in and of itself. But I was made aware when I was looking at a map of what country has the largest amount of immigration for each state.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2/3 of the country, the largest amount of immigrants that they have in that state are from India. And it made me realize, I was like, if they're actually voting, Indians are fiercely fucking tribal. Like, insanely fucking tribal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if Trump had Vivek as his VP, it would probably do more for him in terms of pulling more votes to him than any other pick that he could make.
Yeah, my issue with that is that Vivek is very much a look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me guy, and I don't think that works well.
Completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with you. However, it'd be worth it just to have Vivek versus Kamala doing the VP debate.
I don't think they're going to do a VP debate. I don't think they're going to do more debates, period. I think they're just going to, like...
I would not at all be surprised if the media, because they're the ones who run this shit, were just like, fuck it, we can't... Or at the very least, like, not have Biden show up. So then it'd be really funny if Trump was like, you know what, I'll just debate RFK. You know, if Joe doesn't want to come anymore because we humiliated him last time.
Yeah. I know some people are going to be like, well, Biden can't possibly do worse. But he could. He could, like, shit his pants. He could wander off the
That's
away
exactly
from the
what I was
podium.
about to say. I'm all like, he could shit him, like, that one fucking meme I posted of Trump being like, he's a rotting corpse up here, folks. He's literally dead. That would actually happen in real life. Trump would actually be like, look, I'm going to be respectful to the American people, but I'm going to be honest, too. I'm reasonably sure that he just shit himself. I can smell it from here. I think my nose hairs is vaporized. I've probably only got 1 or 2 left.
That's it. Come on.
With ya.
It's the stench of death.
Bet that hurts.
I think something might slide out of his pant leg if we don't get him off the stage. Good God.
Call me up.
I got this. Hold on. Pour it on. Give him your all.
I say Gavin. Well, the thing is, and Nate Silver's actually spoken about this a little bit previously, Gavin is not popular outside of California at all, really. And honestly, it's arguable how popular he is in California, but he's looked at the numbers. Yeah.
Look, I can definitively say this as somebody who's lived in California all my life. Gavin is the least liked governor that we've had who actually won re-election. The last time I've seen people dislike the governor to this extent was when Jerry Brown got recalled. Wait, was it Jerry Brown? No, it was Gray Davis. The guy that Schwarzenegger replaced.
I'll keep that in mind during your performance.
Gray Davis was recalled. Gray Davis was the last guy that I saw that was that unpopular. Because Jerry Brown was the previous guy, right before Gavin Newsom, and he wasn't well liked because he'd been governor before. However, the last time he was governor, there weren't term limits for the governor. So because of that, he got grandfathered in as being allowed to run again, but he could only do it for one term. So while he was doing that, he groomed his replacement, which would be Gavin Newsom. And he really was not popular then. The only reason that he won is because he had the D next to his name, but people really didn't like him. And he basically made it known that he was like, I'm just keeping the seat warm for my protege. Gavin comes in. The only people who like Gavin are ivory tower liberals that he caters to in the Bay Area. And, you know, obviously people are going to vote for him because he got the D next to his name, but just about everybody hates him. And he's currently undergoing his second recall. And he's probably going to win this one too, just because of how many Democrat voters there are in this state. But he's not even well liked here. Nationally, it would be a bloodbath. He would not do well. He's basically the Mitt Romney of the Democrat Party.
Damn it!
We got your back!
This ends here.
Fight! Fight! Fight!
Gotcha.
I'll be fine.
I don't know if you saw the Young Turks video from last night yet, but they're freaking out too. Senk wants them to nominate Bernie Sanders at the convention, which is like the one guy who's older than Biden.
That'll do.
That guy has lost his mind.
This ends here.
I mean, in fairness, he's been saying this stuff about Biden for years, and Chunk Yogurt literally ran for president this year in the primary as the Democratic nominee because he's like, we need to do something to get this guy out of here because he's going to lose.
Right, and yeah, that's totally fine, and I do agree with that, but the idea of replacing Joe with Bernie.
Yeah, that part, of course, is lunacy.
That's a non-starter. That's why I said he was insane.
One more shot.
You're dead.
Scream for now!
This ends here. Now you're in.
Well, yeah, I mean, right guy, that's why people like Razorfist and a lot of other people too, it's not just Razorfist, but he's the most public guy I know talking about it, about how state GOPs need to try to install a state-level electoral college to prevent things like that. Because if we're trying to prevent it at the national level, because it's undesirable, then it should be just as undesirable at the state level.
Right, and that's the thing, you know, is like, of course, obviously Democrats, like, shit their pants over it, and it's all like, as much as you may want to dismiss people for living in an area that you don't live in, just because they aren't in the city doesn't mean that they aren't valid people. And the entire premise behind the United States was the founding fathers knew that this was going to be a huge issue because at the time, Virginia was the territory that was the state of Virginia was not just Virginia plus West Virginia, but also what is modern day Kentucky.
Right.
So it was fucking huge, and was like 1/3 of the entire population of the whole country. So when a state like Rhode Island is talking about, why the fuck should we even bother, man? Because, like, how the hell are we going to have fair representation compared to Virginia? You know, they're just going to decide everything. So they came up with the Electoral College, and they came up with the premise of the House of Representatives along with the Senate making up Congress. With different things like that. So it's like, look, if you have a candidate who's actually super popular, and they're going to win with no problem. But if you have a candidate who shows up who doesn't give a shit about what the life is like for people in well over half of the state, and they only care about this one city, well, you know what, fucker? Run for mayor. Don't run for governor. And anybody who disagrees with that is
it would just force,
really not.
Yeah, it would force people to have to work to
Sorry, rookie. You're fired.
work to appeal to those voters as well.
Bumps like that with a ride of life. Gotta hang on tight.
You know, so like the state of New York is a great example because New York City has 8 million people in it, and the entire rest of New York has 12 million people in it. Now, it's not completely 12 million are all Republican and 8 million are just those Democrats all living in New York City. But as far as the counties go, that's literally how it's split up, where every single county in the state of New York is red except for New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, you know, and that's the one that kills me and why I bring it up, because the state of New York is one of the largest states in the Union. And the people who live in New York City have the audacity to say upstate New York to refer to the entire state except for New York City. That is insanity to me. It's like if people in LA refer to upstate California as being everybody who is in LA.
What the hell is Rhonda gonna do about all this?
She's gonna take that fight.
Brittle houses and...
Isn't Priscilla just oil, cold, wind?
Do you need something delivered?
Back in the day, it was. My friends, are you sick of Shinra?
If you're sick of polluted waters and steel skies, then come to the crow's nest and join the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, if that actually happened, think about all the states that you'd see this massive realignment in. It would be biblical.
Absolutely. Not only that, but obviously the Democrats have been trying for a number of years to flip Texas because that's their strategy. They're like, if you take away Texas, they'll never win the White House ever again. And it's all like they would just be completely fucked at that point because Texas has over 250 counties and like less than 10 of them are the various urban centers of Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston, and El Paso, where they get all their Democrat votes from. So it's like if it was fucking electoral college based on a statewide level, they would literally never have any Democrat governor or senator ever again. There wouldn't even be a threat of it. Because there's no shot you'd possibly be able to win.
We'd be more than happy to go a round or two with you.
I'm Devin,
200
the
fucking
brother.
red
And I'm
counties.
Darren, the older one.
And together, we're the
Unless
double
you
D duo.
drastically changed your
Team of
party
twins who
platform.
love
And that's
Queen's blood.
another reason why
Face
it's
my little
good.
brother
It's
here
like
first. If you win, then I'll take you on.
the Democrat
2 for
Party
the
as we
price
know
of
it right
1.
now
Sweet
is about as
deal,
far
right?
to the left as
Speaking
it
of
has ever
prices,
been in the
if you
entire
lose
history of
against
this
either of
country.
us, you gotta fork over
And if you
30
had something like that, it would by necessity force them closer to the center because they just keep losing election after election after election. And considering the way that the Overton window has shifted over the last 4 years, where the center is now stuff like fuck off, full, get them all out, that'd be pretty fucking neat. So definitely a big thumbs up from me there.
Mm-hmm. Man, ever since the debate last night, the For You tab on X has been an absolute cesspool for me.
I bet.
Everybody, like, so many tweets of people whining about how the moderators aren't fact-checking Trump live or something. It's like, that's not their fucking job. They're moderators. It's not their job to fact-check. Whenever the moderators start trying to fact-check, it's really bad. I remember the moderator, I can't remember what her fucking name was, some MSNBC clam, tried to fact-check Mitt Romney in the middle of one of his debates, and then, like, a few hours after the debate, she tweeted, "Oh, I was actually wrong. Never mind." It's like, no one's going to read your fucking tweet. Everybody saw what you did during the debate. What the fuck?
Right.
Moderators should not be injecting any of that stuff into the debate at all.
Right. And the funny thing is, Mitt Romney would have won if he had used the Trump strategy of, just yelling silence hole. That would have worked perfectly.
Yeah, it wasn't Rachel Maddow. It was, the only thing I remember about her is that she was really, really fat. I wanted to say it was Valerie Jarrett, but it's not. I can't remember who Valerie Jarrett is off the top of my head, but it wasn't her. For some reason, I wanted to say that was her name, but it's not. Well, I mean, Romney would have won if he had just spent all of his time trying to appeal to, the white working class, which goes for so many different presidential candidates ever.
Right.
And they fail this very simple test.
For real. I know who it is. I looked it up. I've never even heard of this broad before. Candy Crowley.
Ah, yes, there we go. Maybe she got fired after that. I don't know. But the point yeah.
Something like, let me see here. Crowley served as a moderator October 16th for the second presidential election debate between Obama and Romney. She received criticism for her contradicting Romney and seemingly confirming Obama's statement during an exchange with Romney over language the president used regarding the attack in Benghazi. CNN noted that conservative critics have launched an attack on Crowley, but Crowley was right. Crowley later stated that Romney was right. I think I picked the wrong word, and blah blah blah, all that kind of shit. So she stayed with CNN for 2 more years after that, and then was quietly forced into retirement.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think these people want to. I don't think you want to live in a world where the moderators are trying to fact check everything that is said live. Like, that's just going to turn into a really, really. That's not going to go well.
Because who's the fucking moderator? It's some dumbass journalist. If journalists were actually right about everything, then how the fuck could it possibly be the case that there are different journalists depending on, what side of the aisle they're on? How people accept one source over another because of the political bias. If they were always right by virtue of being journalists, then how would that even be something that was possible? So if that's the case, and journalists are people too, and have their own biases and all this other kind of shit, then what in the fuck entitles them to fact check live during a fucking debate? If somebody says something completely outrageous that is obviously not true, then that's one thing. But if they're discussing policy and you still do that shit, it's like, well, fuck this whole studio. They're just completely in the tank for this political party. What the hell validity does it give to anything? But yeah, if Romney in that situation, he should have been, I know it's going to be difficult for somebody like you to even envision doing this, but close your mouth for a fucking second.
Right.
The woman is morbidly obese. I don't even know how the fuck she made it to 75. That'd be like the oldest 300-pound person in the country. Good Lord.
Like, I watched CNN right after the debate was over last night, and they were fact-checking everything. And one of the things they say is like, Trump said that America pays 100% of NATO or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you get what I'm getting at. And they were like, that's not true. America actually pays 70, I think it was 72% or something like that. And it's like, he's exaggerating to make a point that is still very much valid.
More to the point, that's part of his strategy. If he says something that he knows is intentionally wrong, they won't be able to help themselves from fact-checking it. But by fact-checking it, they do the hard work of coming up with the source for him, showing that he's completely right. Because like you said, if he's like, we pay 100% of the whatever, and they're like, hey, that's not true. We only pay 78%. And it's like, that's still way the fuck too high. That's his point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. I was only off by 22%.
And a lot of the stuff they fact check is just stuff he doesn't have proof of. Like, he talked about election fraud once, and they're like, there is no proof of that. There is no proof that Biden was behind him getting indicted on 34 counts of felony charges in the New York case. And it's like, I think there's a difference between saying something that you don't have proof of and then just straight up making something up. There's a pretty clear difference there. Like, he is not the only person in the country that thinks these things. Not even close.
Right. Like I saw some people who were saying that, everything Trump said was a lie last night. And one of the things that these people are talking about is they're like, he kept saying that the very fine people thing didn't happen. That he didn't call Nazis very fine people. So then people are responding to that and they're like, you realize that was debunked. And that's what Trump said, is that was debunked. So like, oh yeah, post the source. So then they post the source to Snopes because Snopes is the one who fact-checked it and all that. And then people start calling Snopes Russian propaganda. And it's all like, Snopes is the fucking site that broke the fucking Russian propaganda, or Russian bias, Russian meddling, whatever, story in the first fucking place. Are you kidding?
What are you, stupid?
Exactly.
And the answer, of course, is yes.
Yes, they are stupid.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to work out for me. Crap, I have a terrible hand. This is bad. Well, actually... Well, I'm going to lose a couple points, but I think I have to do this and hope I can make up for it later.
I think probably one of the funniest things that I've ever heard in a political debate ever was when Biden finished up his one rambling, incoherent mess of response by saying, "We beat Medicare."
Yeah. People had fun with that one.
I was like, what the fuck was he even trying to say? And then, of course, the great moment when he just rambled something out that wasn't even a word, and Trump was all like, I don't know what he said at the end there. I don't think he knows what he said at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
What's really funny, like especially funny, is that he's also showing in his whole meltdown here that a lot of this criticism is because he doesn't want Trump to win, and he's really upset about it. I'm like, it's making the whole thing even better.
Actually, the other day, I was watching the clip, well, it's not really a clip because it's too long, of CNN, the night of the 2016 election, like right before it became very obvious Trump was going to win, during, and then immediately after. And I was not home when this initially was happening. I was actually at the casino that night, I remember. So I didn't get to watch it at first, but they're covering it in a way that makes it like, at that point especially, they're not that dead set against anything happening. So they cover it in a way that is very honest about how, like, this is historic, this is amazing, this is, you know, something that most of us never thought would happen. And they're covering it in a generally earnest way, and it does feel like you're watching a moment. Even if you didn't particularly like it, and certainly some of those people who were covering it did not. Like, they're very real about the fact that, like, this is extraordinary what's happening right now. He's the, you know, they spent a lot of time talking about how he's the first person elected president who had never served in public office or the military previously. And they're being very real about that. They're just like, this is amazing. And watching those clips back, you really get the sense of how crazy that moment was when it became clear he was going to win. And now it just kind of feels normal because he's run 3 times now, and it doesn't seem that weird anymore, but still is.
What's really funny is when you see all these people online who keep saying that, oh, you know, they're both just as bad. Debate was rotting corpse versus slightly more rotting corpse. No president next election. America needs to be single for a while. All the people who are saying this are people who swallow all the bullshit about Trump and have been Biden supporters right up until that debate where they are forced to confront reality. So they can't say I was wrong about Trump. They just have to say, wow, Biden is awful. We have to get rid of him.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very disingenuous when you see things like that, because if you watch that debate objectively, even if you don't like him, one guy clearly presents himself much better than the other guy.
You gotta beat me.
Oh, it's happening. Hawks are blowing it up.
Don't worry,
Atlanta
Devin.
Hawks?
I promise I'll avenge you.
Yeah, the Hawks have traded, however the fuck you pronounce his first name, Murray, to the Pelicans.
DeJounte Murray?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, if that's Trae Young's sidekick, and they're blowing him out, now we don't have any news yet on who they're getting in return, but unless it was like a huge deal for like Zion or Brandon Ingram, and Trae Young's gone. And they're just blowing it up.
Rip.
Yeah, they don't have any information on who he's supposed to be traded for.
So who gets Trae Young?
Well, that's the sweepstakes going on right now, the one everybody's looking at. Okay, here we go. Waj says, the Pelicans are trading a 2025 first-round pick via the Lakers, which will be top 5 guaranteed, and the least favorable Milwaukee or Pelicans 2027 first-round pick, Larry Nance Jr. and more, or Murray, versus Tell, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we don't know the full details yet, but we've got Larry Nance Jr. and then 2 picks.
All right.
So Pelicans are trying to take advantage of what looks like a listless Western Conference that is very top-heavy to try to slide in and make themselves a bit more competitive. Of course, God only knows what might have happened if it hadn't been for Zion getting injured yet again, but up until he did, they looked fucking amazing. But if they've only got to give up Larry Nance, then Ingram and Murray alone will be a fearsome duo.
Yes! Oh, that was a close one. He had some hella good cards.
Aw, I can't believe we lost. You're better at this than I thought.
Hold up. Does this mean we don't get our 3 gil?
No, he totally still owes us. I'm pretty sure the deal was if we lost, we got 3 gil. Isn't that right? I'm just kidding. You may have beaten us this time, but we'll get that 3 gil from you yet. So if you're ever in the mood, come back and play.
So, unless Joe Biden steps down tonight, he will be on the ballot in Nevada and cannot be taken off for another candidate. And he's already too late in Wisconsin. So, I mean, that's basically the whole thing right there. He can't really afford to lose Wisconsin. Or, you know, Democrat candidate X cannot afford to lose Wisconsin. It's unthinkable that they could lose Wisconsin and still win the election. Especially when you throw Nevada in there as a kicker.
Right. However, it makes it even more important that Trump get off his ass and start campaigning in the fucking Rust Belt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Apparently he's going to make a big push for Virginia, which... Okay, I don't have a problem with that. Like, the polls are indicating Virginia's in play. But he should not be doing that unless he thinks he already knows for sure that he's going to win in the Rust Belt. Like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, even Minnesota. I don't think he should touch Virginia until those states are sewn up.
I agree with you in principle. However, it is important to note that, you know, except for the whole rigging thing, he did win Virginia. Because you remember, before the ballot dump, he was leading and by a wide margin. And people, you already had Harvard math professors coming out saying, well, you know, mathematically it's impossible for him to lose Virginia now with how much of the vote's been counted. Then here comes the 3 a.m. ballot dump that occurred in every single state. And then Biden pulls ahead by more votes than there are registered voters.
Well,
in the state of Virginia. How about that?
The end result was that Trump lost Virginia by about 10 points, and he lost these other states by like 0.5 points or 0.6 points. So there's a big difference there. There was a significant difference there. Like, and, you know, maybe he's thinking I'm going to pick Youngkin as my VP. And if I pick Youngkin, that means I should be able to win Virginia. Maybe that's his thought. But to me, you gotta win the Rust Belt. You gotta win those states you won in 2016 before you start thinking about Virginia.
But that's another thing about what I was saying with Vivek earlier, is I know from my time living in Virginia that there's a shitload of fucking Indians in Virginia. Because in Northern Virginia, the folks that live there call it Nova.
in the whole DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia. They got a shitload of Indians there because that's where a hell of a lot of companies have their corporate headquarters, because it's right next to Washington, D.C., so then your lobbyists don't have far to travel. So, who are the rich, limey, tiny hats that operate the government? Who would they likely hire to do all of their manual labor and work IT and stuff? A bunch of Indians. So if he runs with Vivek, then he doesn't need to remove Youngkin from the governor's office to win Virginia.
It's not a bad idea, yeah. Like, to me, maybe even New Hampshire's only 3 votes, so it doesn't really matter that much. But I think New Hampshire might flip before Virginia, because I think he lost New Hampshire to Hillary by like 0.3 in 2016, and there was a point where it looked like it was over and Trump was going to win New Hampshire, and then there was a sudden ballot dump to give Hillary the win by 0.3 or something. So that could be a very winnable state that nobody talks about.
It finished 47.62 Clinton to 47.25 Trump. A 0.4 less than that. It was 0.37. No, 0.3.
Yeah, that is very much in play. 100% in play.
Yeah, 0.37.
0.37, and it was 2,736 votes difference. And like you said, that was only because of a ballot dump. Now, people don't want to talk about this on account of the fact that Trump won, but they tried like hell to rig it in 2016 too. They just underestimated how much support the guy actually had. That's why Hillary was fucking like... Do you remember the way that she looked her first public appearance after she lost?
Well, the concession speech, oh yeah. I certainly remember that.
Yeah. Well, the concession speech, she didn't even fucking give that. She sent Podesta out there.
Yeah, the night of, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, that shit, she looked like fucking, she looked like absolute hell. That was why, is because she lost a rigged election.
Okay. Well,
I remember sounding the alarm bells back then, being like, we should, you know, since we actually have the mandate, plus we're in charge, we should be thinking about 2020, because they're probably going to try to rig it again, and they might succeed this time, because they are now aware of how much they need in order to win. That's exactly what fucking ended up happening. That's the problem, is I'm just some guy, but I constantly feel like fucking Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park. Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, I mean, she didn't give her concession speech that night. She gave it the next morning, I remember. And she later said the reason why she didn't give the concession speech that night is because she didn't have one. Because she was sure she was going to win. Because, like, you know, it's one thing if you think you're going to win. Because I guarantee that John Kerry and Mitt Romney thought they were going to win. And they lost. But they gave their concession speech that night because they were prepared for the possibility of them losing, even if they thought they were going to win.
Yeah.
And Hillary didn't even have a concession speech because she was so sure she was going to win.
Yeah. Well, what does that tell you?
Wait. Something's not right.
Plus, you know, of course, people don't talk about it anymore because at this point it's ancient history. But you had all those reports of people who were interns with the campaign, or because I remember when it happened, I kept saying, "Man, I wish I was a fly on the wall back then," because all the stories coming out were the same. He was having a motherfucking meltdown.
Oh, I'm sure.
Legendary. Like fucking Phil Hellmuth would have been so proud. He'd have been taking notes.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Like, I read her book. I read What Happened, the book she wrote after the election. And she said she took a nap. And I'm like, no, you fucking didn't. That's like the most important day of your life. She said like after the results kind of turned against her and things weren't looking so good, she took a nap. And it's like, no, you're not taking a nap on the most important night of your life when things are being reported every 5 minutes that change everything.
Exactly. There's no possible chance that any human being in this situation ever could take a nap. Now, what she may have meant is that she lost consciousness.
Let's do this.
Which I would completely believe.
Tagging out. What in the...
Polite way of saying she started drinking herself into a stupor.
Let's do it right.
My God. She actually said that in her book that she took a nap.
Yeah, she said once it became
like,
clear
wake me
it wasn't.
up when it's over.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she said something basically like once it became clear this wasn't going to be an easy win because she expected to win Florida, and if she won Florida, it was obviously the game was over, right? And she was like, once it became clear I wasn't going to win Florida and it was going to be a little more complicated, I decided to take a nap. And it's the most important night of your life. And every 30 seconds, there's a new info dump that changes things. You're not taking a nap. That'd be like me taking a nap when the Seahawks are playing in the Super Bowl. Like, the Seahawks aren't up 35-0 at the end of the first quarter. I'm taking a nap. No, you're not.
Yeah, for real.
You're done.
That is complete bullshit. Yeah. No, I still remember.
It's one of those situations where I just wish that I had money. Not because I felt like, I wish that I knew ahead of time, like people often say about Bitcoin. Fuck all that. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was going to win. Because as I was looking at everything, I'm like, there's no way that he doesn't win here. Because they're underestimating him, and even though they're going to try to cheat, they're not going to do enough. And he's going to kick the shit out of him. He's going to take him by surprise completely because he's the only person who's actually reaching the American people with his message. And the other person isn't. The other person's made this whole thing about them, and he's actually making it about, no matter what else you want to say, he made it about, has your life been bad over the last 15 years? Vote for me, and I'm going to take revenge for you. I'm going to make all those bastards' lives a living hell for what they've done to you and your family. And that's the message that very strongly resonated with America back then, and it's the message that strongly resonates with America now.
Was it?
So if I had money, especially with the odds that was that they had at various times throughout the election, I would have bet so much fucking money on him.
2, 3, 4, 5,
I didn't have any. But I'm like, this is about as sure a thing as I can imagine.
Lucky numbers.
I remember fucking.
Oh, I wish I had money.
I remember on election night, fucking Bond was losing his mind because he bet on Hillary.
Surprises, aren't you?
And like, he didn't even get good odds because she was a favorite. It's like, why would you do that, dude?
Which was hilarious because I was trying to tell him, I'm all like, dude, that ain't gonna happen. He kept making fun of me. He's like, oh, delusional snacks. I'm all like, dude, I made every bet that I actually could. Like the fucking Leave Forever bet that I made with Webstage. I fucking did that shit because I was like, I already know. And I'm like, I know he's just gonna welch again, but this is gonna be so funny.
Nothing. I'm fine.
Look.
It seems our rope
2016 is pretty damn good. I wish I could go back to it sometimes because really only two bad things happened. The Cavs won and Wade left. But Wade leaving got us Jimmy because he recruited Jimmy to the Heat when he was on the Bulls because he felt like, man, everybody here plays so weird and, the culture's all fucked up. Let me tell you, Jimmy, about Heat culture. And then, even though the Cavs won and that was horrifying, it was hilarious because you had a Cavs fan eating literal shit at the victory parade because he just lost his mind because he was like, holy shit, I want to remember this moment forever. So like one of the horses in the celebratory parade, fucking one of the horses did what horses do and left the road apple behind. He just picked it up and started scarfing on it. And I'm all like, that right there, that's Cleveland's bad.
It's on now.
Plus, it was the most legendary choke that we've ever seen in the NBA, and it led to Kevin Durant doing My Next Chapter. That was all.
And became the saddest superstar ever. It happened when the Eagles won the Super Bowl as well, right, guy? But I think he was probably doing it because of the guy from Cleveland who did it.
Let's finish this.
I think he probably saw that guy doing it and he's like, hey, that's a good idea. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I'm going to do that. I don't know why he thought it would be a good idea, but he did.
Yeah, what wasn't the Super Bowl that the Eagles won in February of 2017?
Yes. Well, 2018.
Oh. Right, because it was the year previous that the Patriots had won, and they were the first team to visit the Trump White House.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were calling on them, don't visit it because that's awful. But then they went anyway because duh, and it was great.
Yeah.
And the following year, the first team to not go was that fucking faggy Warriors team, and it was hilarious because they were going to hold a team meeting over whether or not they wanted to go, and Trump was all like, oh, "A team meeting? This is supposed to be an honor. This is a fucking invitation. You know, if you're going to hold a team meeting, if you're going to go or not, then fuck all of you. I don't want you here." And I'm sitting here laughing because I'm all like, of course, Steve Kerr's a big fucking fairy. And, you know, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, they're worried about, you know, their reputation within the black community, that, you know, they got people that they got to answer to and all that shit. But I'm all like, going to this fucking thing, it's not for you guys. Because you'll always get your props. It's for all the guys on the bench, all the role players, all the guys who helped you get where you needed to be. All those guys, that's going to be one of the biggest moments of their life. And you stole that from them so that you can make it about yourself. Piece of shit. Stuff like that is why every time Kevin Durant fails, I always laugh. And when they got swept this year, that was hysterical.
Yeah. Do you remember when the Clemson team that won the national championship went to the White House? And there was I think the government was shut down, so the cooks weren't doing anything.
Right, so then they did the fast food buffet, which people still bring up as Trump being cheap because the people, you know, the further removed you get from the event, the more bullshit fucking goes on because you're talking to people who didn't experience it. So they're just going off of hearsay and rumors that they heard about from secondhand sources because they didn't see it themselves. Like you said, government was shut down, the cooks weren't working. So Trump asked them, what do you guys want? If they had said, we want steak and lobster, he would have gone to get fucking steak and lobster because he paid for the whole thing himself. What they said is, Mr. President, you know, we're just a bunch of simple college kids. What we'd really like is a bunch of fast food. So he went and got every fast food imaginable. Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Taco Bell. Fucking every fast food that you could think of, you know, you just got a smorgasbord of that shit. And people are like, oh my god, Trump is so cheap. Remember when he was hosting that championship team and he forced them all to eat fast food? And I'm all like, you're an idiot because I was around when that was happening. Here's a bunch of pictures of the athletes being fucking stoked and picking up like 7 or 8 burgers at a time, like falling out of their hands. They're like, that guy, why can't I hold all these limes at me? They're just so fucking happy. They're, oh my god, this is awesome. And it's all like, a lot of these kids grew up in extremely poor conditions, and this is before college athletes were even getting paid. So like, you know, try getting a teenager to appreciate a 35-year-old Scotch malt whiskey. What the fuck is he gonna know about why that's so good?
No time to celebrate.
You know?
Yeah, I was like listening to a podcast recently and they were talking about food a little bit. And one of the guys is saying like, you know, I don't really get steak. I don't understand what the big deal is about steak. Like, to me, a hamburger is better than a steak. And the other guy was like, yeah, you know, I've always said that you kind of have the palate, the taste buds of a 6-year-old. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, you know, you have to get to a certain age to really understand why a steak is better than a hamburger. Why a filet mignon is better than ground beef.
Right. And yeah, I completely agree with you. When I was talking with this person, you know, and they were going on, they're like, you know what? You know, if it was me, I would have asked for caviar. And I'm all like, you would have asked for caviar? Okay, what kind of spoon do you eat caviar with? Like, what are you talking about? Just a regular spoon. And I'm all like, you eat caviar with a bone spoon because the metal taste affects the flavor of the eggs that you're eating. It completely fucks with the whole entire ensemble. You can't taste it properly, it spoils the palate, exactly like you're talking about.
Going in.
That's why people use a bone spoon in caviar, because that is a neutral flavor. It presents, you know, like, even a fucking wood spoon will fuck it up. And I'm sitting here like, now, you're the person who's sitting there having the audacity to say that you prefer to eat caviar given the option, and you didn't even fucking know. What the hell makes you think that a fucking lineman from Clemson is gonna have any fucking idea about that shit? When he's grown up eating McDonald's cheeseburgers his entire life, wouldn't you know he's the guy who went and grabbed fucking 10 Big Macs? Like,
This one's for you!
All done.
Even like Trevor Lawrence, who was the star of that team, like, that is 100% a country boy. And yeah, he's made hundreds of millions of dollars now, but at the time, he was just a prospect.
yeah, and hundreds of millions of dollars in his NFL career. How many fucking pictures are there out there of Trevor Lawrence eating caviar?
I don't know if I could eat caviar. I think the fact that it's fish eggs would just kind of freak me out. Maybe I'd have to try it once just to see what's up. But I think that would kind of freak me out to eat.
Never checked it out myself, though.
I'd always have it in the back of my head that this is, you know, these are fucking fish eggs.
Yeah. It's, if that kind of thing can weird you out, like, I completely understand it.
What?
A tea room.
But,
You can't throw a ninja star without hitting at least
with caviar and especially
always
lots
free.
of other different kinds of
The food, on the
fish-related
other
things,
hand,
it,
that's how they get you.
it's very salty,
so.
so if you enjoy
I don't
salty
think we're gonna
flavors,
find one here.
it's like an
Or
exquisite
anywhere else
explosion
nearby.
of saltiness in addition to the flavor of the fishiness. I mean, I'm a simple guy, I can't really get this across like a food critic or anything, but it's one of those things where as you're eating it, you can tell that it's very rich. And you don't want to eat a whole ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, though, that obviously those are unfertilized eggs. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fish eggs, but it's, you know...
I'm not committing genocide against fish when I eat it.
It's the seafood version of an omelet, yeah. Tell you one thing, though, I don't understand why it's so expensive. Because, you know, maybe the fish that they're getting this from, there's not a very large population of them and all that kind of shit, but if you've ever actually watched caviar harvesting, when they open up the female to harvest the eggs, first of all, it doesn't kill her to do that, which is astonishing enough in and of itself. But they open her up, there's like the fucking eggs in there. I'm sitting there like, it definitely feels like one of those things where it's a controlled substance kind of deal, where they're trying to create artificial scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you could easily create farms where you've got like fucking thousands of these fucking things running around. And caviar could be as cheap as like fucking $5 for a fucking mason jar full of the shit, you know?
Yeah, Larry David has said before that it's a perfect metaphor for his life, that he ended up being insanely wealthy, but he's allergic to caviar, so he can't eat it. He said he thought that was like the perfect metaphor for the characters that he plays.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny, admittedly.
Yeah. When are you gonna tap out to go?
Well, I'm actually gonna go upstairs right now and figure out what's going on. So I will be right back.
Because I was about to be right back to do the exact same thing.
All right. So I am actually going to go ahead and get out of here. I guess we're going to be eating pretty shortly here. So in a couple minutes here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream. And I'll probably be back later tonight. I'm not sure exactly, but probably will be back later tonight to do more. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. I'll be back later.